I want to talk with you about the idea of parallel thinking. It's when two comics come up with the same joke without ever seeing each other or interacting with each other, and how you deal with it. So imagine this. You see a comic do your bit on TV, the one you worked on so hard, so meticulously, like a watchmaker. You gave birth to that idea. You nurtured it. You watered it. You pruned it. You watched it grow. Now some jerk is doing it for all the world to see. That thief! Not necessarily. It could just be he thought of the same idea. If it's a joke that's in the mainstream popular discourse, that's probably what happened. A lot of those jokes are going to be similar. If it's based on a tired premise like, cancel culture ruins everything, your joke might not be that special. Let me tell you a story about how I experienced this a couple times, at least a couple, but two stories, and how I navigated my way through it. In the early 2000s, I had a joke and a girlfriend. Don't act surprised. At the time, the joke seemed totally fresh and new to me, and it also fit my act because I like talking about these types of subjects. Here it is. My girlfriend's pregnant? Thanks. Yeah, I don't care if it's a boy or a girl. I'm just praying that it's white. The implication being that my girlfriend cheated on me, and I would know because we were both white. And if the baby wasn't white, you understand what I'm saying. Then one night at the Improv, I saw Greg Fitzsimmons do basically the exact same joke. He changed a few words around, but it was right there. Boom, in my face. So when he was coming off stage, I met him in that walkway between the showroom and the bar. I said, "Hey, Greg, my name's Rich Williams. I'm a comic. I've never seen you before. I just want to let you know that one joke you do about hoping the baby's white, I have almost the exact same joke." I knew that Greg didn't steal my joke. He had never seen me perform before, and I had never seen him live before. And I came up with a joke absent of seeing him ever do something like that. Neither of us had stolen the joke. It was parallel thinking. We both thought of this idea, and there's kind of only one way that joke works with structure, and so it sounds very much the same. As I'm recording this right now, in November of 2023, I've seen several different comics do a version of that joke throughout the years. What did I do? I dropped the joke. First of all, if anyone saw me do it after they saw Greg Fitzsimmons do it, they would think I stole the joke. Or if the reverse happened, if they saw me do it and then saw Greg Fitzsimmons do it, they would think he stole the joke. Greg was way, and still is, way higher on the pecking order of comics than I was and am. So I didn't want people to think I was stealing. I didn't want them to think he was stealing either. Because as I always say, comics should look out for each other. And the truth is, it wasn't that great of a joke. It sucked for me because that joke led into an entire bit where I talk about how my girlfriend at the time loved Mexican guys so much. And I knew it because our apartment was filled with bags of oranges and Laker flags and tube socks. They would sell them on the corners in LA. Anyways, I dropped the joke. It wasn't worth it to me. Second story. A couple years ago, I'm watching one of Chappelle's specials, and he does this bit about glory holes. I do a bit about glory holes. It's a very specific, funny thing, but it's naturally a funny, like, if you know what a glory hole is, it's a funny concept. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, do I drop the joke or not? I worked with Chappelle exactly one time. He bumped me on a show at Dublin's. I don't even think he watched my set afterwards. I had never heard him do a bit about glory holes. I had never heard anyone do a bit about glory holes. And I got mine from my beloved Uncle Donnie. He asked me if I knew what they were. And I was alarmed that he knew what they were. And then he told me this funny story about how he discovered what they were because something hit him right in the side of the face while he was trying to take care of business. He didn't realize that they had. Anyways, I'm not dropping the joke because Chappelle didn't steal it from me, obviously. I didn't steal it from Chappelle. And it's a joke that reminds me of my uncle who passed away. It kind of sums up his personality and the type of relationship we had. So in that case, yeah, it's worth it to me to keep the joke. And if somebody thinks I stole it, well, it's different enough that they won't. But you have to figure out, is the joke worth it? Is it worth it to keep? Because you can always write more material. And I don't want to write stuff that is so easily reproduced by other people. That's why I like to talk about very personal things in my act. It's hard to steal material about my parents dying. It's hard to have parallel thinking with that type of experience. And I don't just talk about sad, depressing things, but for all of my material, I want to be as original as possible, so I don't get too worried about any of that. It's like, oh, okay, that joke is burned. And so the general rule of thumb is, if a comic is the first one to get that bit onto TV, you automatically drop the joke. The general rule of thumb. I gave you an example of an exception. And there are times when comics steal. I've had so many jokes stolen from me. I've even had TV shows stolen from me, which I'll tell you about another time. But the solution is twofold. One, write more, be very productive and prolific with your writing. And two, write stuff that people can't steal, that only fits you. Write stuff that there's not going to be parallel thinking because you're the only one who thinks this way. I hope that makes sense to you. Just remember this. Getting new jokes is relatively easy. Getting your reputation back, that's a whole lot harder. I'm glad you found me. I hope you find this channel again, and thank you for watching.